Now, the U.S. Army isn't always sunshines and rainbows type of thing. I mean, sometimes it sucks, sometimes it's great, and sometimes there's also dumb things you have to do. Now, especially when you look at it from the outside perspective of somebody outside of the Army. I'm Christopher Chaos, and these are dumb things that Army soldiers have to deal with. What's up, my friends? Welcome to an all-new video, and in this one I got 5 things that I want to outline as far as dumb things, especially from an outsider's perspective, that soldiers do in the Army, have to deal with in the Army, and they sound ridiculous. Usually they're for good reasons for the most part, but they still kind of sound ridiculous. There are more than 5 things. I just wanted to highlight these 5 things. So definitely, if there are some veterans out there, some people currently serving in the Army or the military, and you can think of some things outside of these 5, because there are some, then drop them down in the comments section down below, because I'm sure the viewers that are watching this video would like to hear about some more dumb things that sometimes you have to deal with. So drop those comments down below so we can read about the fun things that we have to deal with. Let's get into the first one, and that is walking in front of a vehicle. It doesn't matter if it's a big open parking lot. You're walking in front of a vehicle to do what's called ground guiding it. So let me give you like an example, right? You have a truck that's parked in the motor pool, and you need to take it out of the motor pool. Well, to take it out of the motor pool, you have someone who's inside the vehicle who's going to drive it, and someone who's going to ground guide you, which means they walk in front of the truck, and that person that is driving follows that person that is walking towards the gate to lead the vehicle outside of the gate. Now, this is done for a lot of reasons. The main one usually is for safety. That way, this ground guide can tell people to get out of the way or guide them past something. That way, the truck doesn't run into another vehicle, maybe in a tight spot that they have to get through. You can kind of let them know if he's clear on the sides, whatever. So it's for safety, really.
Where's your ground guide at? You almost hit somebody.
I don't see anybody, son.
Hey, move over.
Oh.
The thing that really feels dumb about it sometimes is that it doesn't matter if it's an empty parking lot. A lot of times, like let's say you have a motor pool that's empty. If that's the rules to ground guide those vehicles, you still got to ground guide the vehicle through an empty parking lot. And even if it's like, let's say at the National Training Center in Fort Irwin, California, and it's a big open desert environment, sometimes there's areas there where you're gonna have to ground guide these vehicles, even though it's probably nothing around within a decent vicinity to be able to run into. Doesn't matter, right? There are some units that will maybe have policies as far as what vehicles have to be ground guided. Like, for example, I remember one unit where anything that was like a Humvee size, right? That was okay. You didn't have to ground guide a Humvee, but anything larger than a Humvee, so you had a cargo truck, a tank or whatever, right? Anything that was bigger than a Humvee had to have a ground guide. But there are some units that it doesn't matter. Everything has to have a ground guide. So sometimes it depends on the unit as far as what their guidance is, as far as which vehicles have to be ground guided. But sometimes it feels ridiculous as you're leading this vehicle, out of this parking lot, out of this motor pool, out of this specific area that requires a ground guide. Another one is wearing a reflective belt, otherwise known as your PT belt, in certain environments. I haven't seen it as much lately during physical fitness. Usually that's what it was for, is for PT. During PT in the mornings, you're sometimes doing physical fitness before the sun even comes up, so they want you to wear these reflective vests. That way cars driving by will see these soldiers because their headlights will be reflecting off the reflective vest. Sounds great. In those kind of environments, I guess it's probably pretty helpful to be able to see the soldiers during the night, especially with the current Army physical fitness uniform being all black with just the gold or the yellow logos on it for the U.S. Army. But there are times when even during the day you have to wear it. Like an example of that I remember is when you're doing rail ops. If you are going to be doing something like you have to put trucks on a train to send it down to the National Training Center type of thing, or another environment where they're going to rail load it, they usually want you to wear a reflective vest on the train while you're loading the vehicles on there, even if it's the middle of the day. There are a lot of other examples of just the middle of the day having to wear that reflective vest. Another crazy one I remember was in Iraq on a deployment. There were times you had to wear a reflective vest. Now, not outside of the wire, like out on a mission. You don't want the enemy to be able to, see you very, very well. But I remember on base, they had a policy that if you're going to be out on the base at night, then you had to wear a reflective vest. So you're going to the chow hall, you're going to the PX, you're doing something, right? Then you had to wear a reflective vest. So we always had to carry that damn reflective vest everywhere we went, because if the sun started to go down, it was a requirement that we had to be wearing our reflective vest on base at least. You will also see soldiers have to do this like operating equipment, right? They're mowing lawns or using a weed eater, all sorts of environments where they have to wear this damn reflective vest even though it's the middle of the day. So It's like a love-hate relationship, I guess. I guess mostly a hate. I don't know if people really love the PT belt kind of thing, but it's just a lot of ridiculous kind of situations where you do have to wear it, where it probably doesn't make sense from a safety standpoint, but it's just a thing you got to do. Another dumb thing you have to deal with being in the Army is that if you want to go on vacation and during that vacation there's a holiday in there, a weekend, you still have to use vacation days for those days you would have been off anyways. Let me give you a good example with that, right? Let's say you had 4th of July weekend, right? You were going on vacation for that whole week, so you wanted to leave Friday night before the 4th of July. So let's say the 4th of July fell on a Monday, so that gave us the holiday for Monday, right? Well, I still have to use vacation days for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, even though it's a holiday, I still have to use a vacation day for that, and then the other days as well. And if I'm coming back to work on Monday of the following week, well, then I'm using vacation for that next weekend as well. So instead of just me simply being charged 4 days, the days that I would have normally had to work, I had to use it for the entire weekend or the entire week itself, even though there was a holiday in there. So now what would have been normally 4 days of vacation in the civilian world is now 9 days in the civilian world, even though you were off already on those days. Now, you do earn a lot more private vacation days than a lot of civilian employers give you with getting 30 days a year. Not a lot of employers give that many holidays or that many vacation days, I guess, during an entire year. So I guess it kind of makes up for it, but it still feels ridiculous that you have to use those vacation days on days you were off anyways. And you might think, well, I just will put in for vacation for those 4 days and not put in vacation for those other days. Well, that leads into another dumb thing you have to deal with, and that is signing in and out of vacation. So in that example, right, we have the 4th of July weekend, you got 4th of July on the Monday, you want to take off on vacation Friday night after you get off work to be able to have that whole entire week off. Well, before you leave, you have to sign out to go on leave. So you have a leave form, you have a specific document that you have to fill out as far as the address of where you're going to, the days you're requesting, all that stuff. You have your supervisors have to sign off to approve it and everything like that. And then they keep it usually at the staff duty area, which is like the main brigade battalion kind of area where they will have all the documents. So when people are going on leave, they have them there at the staff duty desk, or they have it with somebody to be able to come in and sign out on vacation or on leave. Typically, if let's say your vacation day didn't start until Saturday, well then you probably can't sign out until midnight on Saturday, but a lot of units nowadays will actually allow you to sign out prior to that, just for safety reasons and for just morale and a bunch of other kind of reasons. But it used to be you usually had to sign out on midnight or later in the day on that Saturday because Saturday was the day it started. So you have to go up there whenever the designated time is to be allowed to be able to sign out, go up there, sign out, and that verifies, okay, you have officially started vacation and you're gone, you're taking off. So if you only requested those 4 days you weren't working anyways, and you flew, let's say you were stationed in Colorado and you're going off to California, well, if you're not there in Colorado to sign out on leave, then you can't really be on leave. So it wouldn't really work to be able to go and just only request those 4 days that you weren't working anyways, because you got to sign out on leave before you even leave the area anyways, because if you're going to leave more than a 250-mile radius, then it requires either like a pass or to be on leave, to be on vacation. So that's where it comes into play that you have to sign out to be able to even leave those areas. But with that, you also have to sign in. So when you return from vacation, you return back to wherever the documents were at, staff duty, whatever, and then sign in before midnight on the last day of your vacation. So if the last day of your vacation is Sunday because you're returning back to work on Monday, then before midnight on Sunday, you got to make it back to be able to sign back in. There is leeway, like with officers, for whatever reason, officers get like special treatment and officers can call and say, hey, I'm back, and they'll be like, cool. I mean, that also is the case, like usually higher ranking individuals as well, like, you know, maybe the platoon sergeant or the first sergeant or something like that. But lower enlisted soldiers, E4 and below, probably even E5 and below, sometimes even E6 and below, you're going to have to actually physically show up to sign back in or sign out as well. That's not something you have to do in the civilian world, right? If you go on vacation, you tell your employer, hey, I'm putting in for this time frame off. You don't have to take, you know, the holiday as a leave day in most cases, but, you know, you just take off, right? You don't have to sign back in when you return. You just have to be back at work when you're supposed to be back at work. Not like that in the Army. You got to make sure to sign out before you leave, and then when you return, you got to sign back in to officially complete your vacation, I guess. One last one is a thing that you probably still have in some civilian areas, but I don't feel like it's the same. I don't feel like it's the same as like it is in the Army, and that is mandatory fun. That sounds ridiculous. Let me give you some examples of mandatory fun events that soldiers have to deal with in the Army. Let's say they have organization day. That basically means that, hey, cool, you have a dedicated day that they have maybe some sports going on, some barbecues, maybe you're allowed to have bring your family kind of a thing, and you're required to be there. That's your place of duty. You can't be like, yeah, I don't really feel like doing that. You don't get a choice usually. You sometimes have to sign up for a sport. You sometimes, have to participate in something. There's probably different events going on, and they usually a lot of times want you to participate in something during that day, not just being lazy all day. So you got to participate in one of the events, and then you're there. That's your place of work. So you're kind of trying to have a good time because you have to be there. And sometimes, sure, it is a good time. I'm not saying it's like a horrible and you're being forced to have fun. I mean, you're kind of being forced to have fun, but sometimes it is really fun. It's just kind of ridiculous that you're forced to do this fun event. You don't get a choice. It's not like a choice like, well, we're doing this organization day on Friday, and you can choose to either be there or just have a day off or go work kind of thing. No, you got to. Your place of duty is the organization day. There is sometimes cases where other things have to happen, so maybe you are working type of thing. But if you're not involved with that special event that's going on, that specific work assignment, then you're participating in that organization day. There are other examples. I mean, especially like on Fort Carson, they have Ivy Week, which is a whole entire week of mandatory fun where they have a bunch of sports going on, and a lot of times required to sign up for something, but that's your place of duty. Your place of duty is participating in these events, and you got to do it. I don't think there's really barely any employers. I mean, I guess there is some examples of employers doing that where maybe, hey, we're going to do a team building exercise, and that's kind of mandatory fun, but it just kind of some of the ways the Army does it just seems different than like this team building event that we're going to do with our boss at Walmart or at whatever company that you work at kind of a thing. It's definitely different in the Army. Those were just 5 that I wanted to kind of outline. There's other things that I'm sure definitely my veteran viewers out there and other people can think of dumb things that you just have to do in the Army, and I want to hear about those down in the comment section down below. And I know that my viewers out there want to read about some more dumb stuff that you have to deal with in the Army, so drop those comments down below, help out the algorithm, hit that thumbs up, all of the normal, usual stuff. Now, that's not the end of dumb stuff that you have to do in the Army. There's probably lots of examples of dumb things you have to do in the Army, and in fact, I have this video right here if you want to check it out about dumb things that you're forced to do, the rules you have to do. Check that out right there. Links down in the description box down below for social media, for affiliate links. Make sure you hit that thumbs up on this video. I'm Christopher Chaos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya.